Hit record. Hey, so this is Scott Keeler, first YouTube attempt, and I am going to be doing a series entitled The Life of Thought. And as I go through some of the processes of thinking, education, why people do some of the things that they do, why they don't. I'm going to be including some reviews. I apologize about all the move and shaking and stuff right there. I'm going to be talking about the reviews on self-help books, motivation, why people some succeed, why others do not, why the majority of us kind of tend to wade through life and never really find ourselves succeeding in the capacity that we want to. I think most of us have dreams and goals and ambitions. There are a few that, for whatever reason, are just simply, are just happy just doing whatever. But I think the most of us inside would like to be somewhat productive, somewhat have some dreams, be able to do some things. I mean, there's so many things in this world that we could be a part of, and we're going to explore why it is that most people will get started in something, or they'll try something out but they'll fail. And I will start out with some of the best self-help books ever, or motivational books. You can call them whatever you want. But one of the first ones that I personally have delved into is Think and Grow Rich. And I think that book itself is monumental. I mean, the basic premise of most of what is in that book is still so prevalent today. Now, granted, there are quite a bit of it that's dated. Part of it where he talks about, being part of World War II, and just some of the different things, some of the characters in there that he has interviewed, most people have not heard of unless they have studied wealthy people or history buffs. Some of the people, like, for example, the bankers like John Wanamaker, or there's some of the politicians that were in there. And these are politicians that were in the 20s and 30s and 40s. And so they're not going to be household names. But what Napoleon Hill did is he took, 25 years, and he interviewed dozens and dozens and dozens of successful, entrepreneurs or successful business people, to put it bluntly. And I will tell you, after, we go through research today and we judge some of these people on our standards, as in the 21st century, as this being, the year 2020 going right into 2021, our standards are going to be different. And, when we talk about somebody like, Henry Ford or John Rockefeller, the scruples that these guys had, we're saying, they were, thought they were so superior to the average people, and they, had they just kind of put people down. And that is very true, that, there was a lot of racism. This was the day and age that they grew up in. They thought that they were superior to other people because of what they were able to do. But we're going to find out in the next installments that a lot of what happened, and a lot of the reason they were able to do what they did, stems from so many several things, to the personalities that they had, to to the parts of the brain that work out as far as the habit formation. You and I are going to discuss habits and where they come from. And again, we're going to look at some of the phenomenal things. Just for example, there was a movie that came out, was called The Secret. Well, thousands and thousands of people got that movie. Hundreds probably did very well using the principles. I would say 5 times more than that did not. And why didn't they? Well, we've got some answers for that. We're going to delve into some of that, of why some people succeeded and why they didn't. And through it all, I will use a lot of myself as a case study in why things didn't succeed, because I have some super high ambitions. And part of what happened with me was became totally frustrated because I was stuck in what's called a habit loop that I couldn't seem to get out of, but I didn't even know it was there. So we'll discuss some of that. We're going to go through and anyway, it's going to be this whole discussion on the life of thought. And it all is going to start with the failure of education. We're going to start with education where it is today. And I know this is going to probably tick off some people, but education here in the United States is become very backwards. It has become a backwards problem, and going on into the major universities and the different things, we are on the cusp of just becoming way at the bottom stack of the entire world as far as it comes to the educational process and what we have. And one of the main reasons is it's never taught from kindergarten through 12. Nobody's ever taught about money. Nobody. The most important thing in our life, and you can say the most important thing is love, and I guess it's all from the point of view, but let me tell you what, I know that money is not everything, right? But I do place it right up there with air. You can't do much without it. And maybe air is just a little bit more important, but money is certainly right there. I mean, everything that we do, the glasses I have on, the shirt I have on, this computer, what you're looking at, and on your video screen, we go back all the way to caveman days, and they had a barter system for trading back and forth, and they had something in exchange for money. So everybody throughout history has had money of some sort. I think for those who believe that money isn't everything, and the problem is they just don't have very much, and they want to justify why. Well, part of the reason starts with the fact that they're not taught very much about money, when they're in school. And that is a real problem, because other cultures, other societies, they teach about money. They teach about money right from the get-go, because that's what you're going to be doing with your life. When you approach somebody and you ask them, hey, hi, what's your name? Well, my name's John. Well, my name's Scott. Well, hello there. And well, what do you do? Oh, I'm a banker, or I'm a plumber, or I am a photographer. They associate everything with what they do, with what they sell, but they base everything about who they are on the income that they make. And that tends to be the basis of what most people do. And it's kind of a funny thing, but who a person is really is a spiritual being, and thoughts and feelings and emotions, but we don't really see that. We always think of what's in, what it is that we do for a living. That was how we base everything in life. And I haven't actually went through and counted and stuff. I just took it for what it was. But I heard somebody in a seminar mention one time that in the Bible, Jesus talks more, and again, maybe you have to generalize some of the different themes of what he does, but he talks more in the Bible about a person's economy, the money, than he does love. You know, he certainly talks about love, but he certainly talks more about a person's economic stance and where they are in about, you know, with money, because he knows that money will pertain to the decisions that a person makes. And the people making decisions, you know, what food to eat, what clothes to wear. They also make a lot of those decisions on what they base their religion on, based on what it is that, you know, that they think is the most profitable for them. When a person is starving, you know, you are going to do those kind of things that it's going to put food in your mouth. I mean, that's kind of where people have been throughout history. So again, the life of thought, and this is, I'm excited to get this out on the table because I have so many ideas that I want to run by everybody. And as I continue this process, you know, I'm going to be looking at some of the new technology that's in there in the age of digital marketing. Digital marketing is where the next event of misplaced and, you know, relocated people are going to do due to all the jobs that are going to be lost here in the next while. I was in a supermarket and I talked with a gal that I used to work with at a place called Pizza Hut, where she was a manager and, you know, I was just part-time delivering pizzas. And she said that her husband got laid off due to the pandemic. Well, after about 3 or 4 months, they just basically sent him a letter and said, yeah, guess what? You're fired. You know, he was 53 years old, and they just packed it in and said, you know, 53, he's just going to apply for Social Security and hang it up because he doesn't see any future. He doesn't see any reason to continue on. Now, I was working at the time, so I didn't think it was the appropriate time to go into a sales pitch about, hey, you know, that there's an opportunity in digital marketing. But I'm going to tell you, there's a lot of people that are just looking with their hands up in the air saying, what do I do? Where do I go next? How did this happen? How did this happen to me? And we're going to explore a lot of that type of stuff. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't by accident. This was planned out by the powers that be. You know, our I apologize. Our educational system has been structured in a way that everything is based on tenure. And just kind of a sneak peek at what's coming on, just today, which is December 10th, 2020, I read in the Wall Street Journal that a few small colleges are going to do away with tenure. Now, if you don't know what that is, tenure is this magical thing that when college professors, you know, and I don't know what the magic number is. I think it's 3 years, maybe it's 5, something like that. They get tenure. And when they get tenure, they cannot be fired. They cannot be let go. They, you know, tenure is that magic thing that they're irreplaceable. You can't do anything to them. That's because that's how the union has set it up. Well, guess what? This has led to what I consider one of the biggest downfalls of the United States is this thing called tenure. Because once a professor hits tenure, no one really can regulate what he teaches in class. So when he has outlandish ideas, or she has outlandish ideas and crazy, you know, things, and they teach in their young heads full of mush, all sorts of crazy stuff, they can do whatever they want with pretty much nobody looking over their shoulder because they got this thing called tenure. Now, this school is doing away with tenure. They're doing away, and it's like, oh my gosh, you can't possibly do that. That's just, it's not heard of since the 20s or 30s. I mean, this is the God-given right of professors and teachers for tenure. Well, that's also been one of the biggest problems with our educational system as we talk. But how they're going to structure it is, because of this pandemic, they're going to structure it on an act of God. So if you are thinking that, oh, there's no way they can do it, hey, I'm going to tell you, they're going to fire a lot of professors. They're letting a lot of people go, and everything in education is going to be changed in the next 5 years. It's all going to be restructured. I know that Robert Kiyosaki talks a lot about the educational system and all the flaws that are in it. And I couldn't agree more with everything that he says. So again, I look forward to talking to you in the next video. And again, my name is Scott Keeler, and we're going through the life of thought. And at some point in time, I'm going to get myself a subscribe button, I'm going to get all the bells and whistles of the different things. But for now, you know, I just wanted to get some stuff out there because, you know, I'm excited to share some of my thoughts with you. All right, talk to you soon. Bye.